David Bowie. You think you know him, the music, the fashion, the sheer reinvention. He was, well, just an incredible cultural force.
Absolutely.
But then after he passed away in 2016, this whole other side emerged, something really quite private.
Mm-hmm.
We got this glimpse into his world through his private art collection.
That's right.
For years, he was quietly building this amazing collection, hundreds of pieces, and when it was finally revealed, wow, it offered such a unique window into his mind.
It really did. And our sources, they really detail this whole process. Sotheby's handled the sale, over 400 works. But first, these major exhibitions, London, Hong Kong, LA, New York.
Huge.
And the thing that immediately jumped out at everyone was just how eclectic it was. Really diverse.
Eclectic is the word.
Yeah, you'd say a really subtle, abstract painting right next to outsider art. Art made by people outside the traditional art world, maybe even from a psychiatric hospital.
Yeah.
And somehow, for Bowie, it just makes sense. This incredible variety, this openness, it mirrors his own constant reinvention, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. So that's our mission for this deep dive. We want to explore some of the most interesting pieces from that collection.
Get into what drew him to them.
Exactly. What connections can we find? And maybe, just maybe, figure out a bit more about the man behind Ziggy Stardust and the Thin White Duke through his art choices.
It's a fascinating journey through different styles, some surprising insights.
Yeah, tailored just for you, our listener.
Yeah.
So let's unpack Bowie's eye for art. Okay, first off, Bowie was never afraid to push boundaries.
Right.
Always innovating.
Definitely.
And his collection shows he looked for that same kind of radical energy in the art he lived with. Let's start with a piece that's, well, the title alone says a lot.
Oh, the Hearst.
Yes. Damien Hirst's beautiful shattering, slashing, violent, pinky, hacking sphincter painting.
Quite a title.
It really is. And Hirst himself, he's always been controversial, hasn't he? Divisive, but you instantly know his work.
Very much so. A key figure in contemporary British art.
What's really interesting is Bowie's take on him. He openly admired Hirst, said his work was moving and not at all flippant.
Which is a powerful statement, considering how some dismiss Hirst. It shows Bowie saw past the shock value, perhaps.
I think so.
This piece is from Hirst's Spin series, literally paint thrown onto a spinning canvas. It creates this chaotic, almost violent feeling.
Yeah.
It was expected to go for about £250,000 at auction. You can see the connection, though. Bowie, the master of transformation, challenging norms on stage.
Right.
He must have resonated with Hirst's way of just pushing buttons, provoking people, making them see things differently, like his own performances did.
That makes perfect sense. Almost seeing a kindred spirit in that artistic rebellion.
Mm.
But it wasn't all about shock value or the gallery wall for Bowie. He also clearly loved how art could weave into everyday life, where form meets function.
Oh, definitely.
Take the Brion Vega radio phonograph, designed by Pier Giacomo and Chili Castiglione. It's just so.
Yeah.
1960s Italian cool.
It's a design classic.
Totally.
Yeah.
You can just picture Bowie putting a record on that thing, can't you?
Absolutely. And it shows how he curated his whole environment, not just the walls. Every object mattered.
Yeah.
And apparently, this specific one came with a list Bowie put together, 25 albums.
Get out. What was on it?
Well, the interesting bit is nothing on that list was recorded after 1980.
Really? So all classics.
Seems like it. Suggests a real love for, the foundations, maybe the music that shaped him early on. It wasn't just a player. It was a connection to music history embodied in this beautiful object.
Art and function inseparable. And speaking of function, it wasn't just his stereo. Even his sofa was a piece of art.
Oh, right. The Peter Shire Big Sur sofa.
Tell us about Shire. He's from L.A., part of that Memphis group.
Exactly. The Memphis group, this Italian design collective in the 80s, they were all about reacting against that sort of minimal modernist look.
So lots of color, wild shapes.
Totally. Colorful, asymmetrical, using materials like plastic laminates in really unexpected ways. Shire himself said blurring those lines between art and, just stuff you use was fun.
Fun. I like that.
And for Bowie, you can see the appeal. Even furniture becomes a statement. It's another way to challenge convention, to say that your living space is also a canvas. Nothing is just functional.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've seen the provocative and the functional. Let's shift to pieces that seem to hit on a more visceral level.
Mm-hmm.
Texture, emotion, landscape.
Mm-hmm.
There's this incredible quote from Bowie about Frank Auerbach's painting, Head of Gerda Baum. He said, "My God, yeah, I want to sound how that looks."
That quote just stopped you, doesn't it? It perfectly captures how deeply art could affect him.
It really does. What is it about Auerbach's technique?
Well, Auerbach uses paint really, really heavily, layers and layers, so it creates this raised, almost sculpted surface, a three-dimensional feel.
So you really need to see it in person.
Absolutely. The texture is part of the piece's language. This portrait, it was estimated at potentially £500,000 and quite rare to see. Apparently, it hadn't been shown publicly for 15 years before the Bowie exhibition.
Wow.
And Bowie wanting to sound like it looks, it hints at that synesthesia maybe, connecting sight and sound in this really profound way, something he definitely explored in his music.
A powerful connection. And staying with that sense of capturing something essential, he also collected Peter Lanyon.
Yes, the Cornish artist. St. Ives was his muse.
Right. Bowie had several of his works, including one called Trafalgar.
Lanyon was brilliant at turning the feeling of a place into an image. Trafalgar captures the Cornish countryside around St. Ives, but it's abstract. He uses these blocks of color, land, sea, sky, with really striking contrast. It's less a picture of the landscape, more the experience of it.
Evocative.
Very. And again, Bowie wasn't just a passive owner. He loaned Trafalgar and two other Lanyons to the Tate St. Ives back in 2010.
Ah, so he was actively involved in sharing the art too.
Yeah, it suggests a collector who was also something of a champion for the artists he believed in, sharing the work.
Okay, now let's talk energy. Raw, urban energy. There's one piece that stood out for its price tag alone. Jean-Michel Basquiat's Air Power.
Huge piece, expected to fetch at least £2.5 million.
Which is significant because Bowie often seemed to lean towards British artists.
He did, yeah. So his strong connection to Basquiat, an American artist, is really notable.
What drew him in, do you think?
Well, think about Basquiat, protege of Warhol, right in the thick of it in Manhattan during that incredible explosion of hip-hop, punk, street art in the late 70s, early 80s.
A real zeitgeist moment.
Exactly. His work just crackles with that energy. But here's the personal connection for Bowie. He actually bought Air Power in 1997.
Okay.
That was right after he played Andy Warhol in the film Basquiat, directed by Julian Schnabel.
No way. So he basically lived in that world for the film and then bought the painting.
Seems like it. It's more than just liking the art. It feels like he was bringing a piece of that experience, that narrative, home with him, a tangible link.
That's fascinating. A souvenir from playing Warhol. And, speaking of artists, no Bowie collection discussion is complete without mentioning Bowie the painter.
Absolutely crucial. He wasn't just appreciating art, he was making it across different mediums.
It really underscores that he was a true polymath, wasn't he? Exploring identity through music, performance, and paint.
Definitely. His own art journey is pretty interesting. He started exploring painting back in the 60s, kind of abstract, expressionist stuff initially. You can see influences like Francis Bacon, maybe some of the British Vorticists.
Right.
But his D-Head series from the mid-90s, 1995 to 97, that's where he really hit a unique stride.
The D-Heads. Tell me more.
It was a series of, I think, 47 paintings, really bright, energetic canvases exploring the self, often these faceless heads, lots of wild brushwork, very expressive.
And there was one specific D-Head in the collection sale.
Yes, D-Head Exolaris. It's quite striking, a soft profile, almost featureless, but with these swirls of vibrant color. Reds, pinks, this sort of turquoise blue, it feels playful, but maybe a bit melancholic underneath, that introspection. And this painting has an amazing story. It was found in a charity shop in Canada near Toronto back in 2021. Someone bought it for $5 Canadian.
You're kidding?
Nope. Then it got authenticated, went to auction, and sold for around $66,000.
Incredible. From $5,000 to $66,000. That's a direct line into his own artistic exploration of self, isn't it?
Exactly. A very personal piece with a truly wild journey.
So we've seen the raw energy, the personal expression. Let's maybe pivot to something quieter. Pieces that evoke a kind of poetic stillness, maybe reflections on life, even London itself.
Okay.
Like Johan Uglow's Two Others Have Been There.
Yeah.
It sounds simple. A small painting, just 18 centimeters square of a half-blood orange,
Okay.
painted in 92.
Small but powerful. It's got this real ambiguity to it. Is the slightly wilting fruit about time passing, maybe mortality, or is it just celebrating the simple beauty of an everyday object?
Interesting tension.
And Uglow's technique is just superb. Really meticulous brushwork, building up texture and realism with these tiny, precise strokes. Very representative of his later style.
Right.
And here's a connection Uglow taught Lucian Freud and Frank Auerbach.
Ah, Auerbach again. The painter Bowie wanted to sound like.
Exactly. So there are these threads connecting artists within the collection. And looking at that Uglow orange now, especially after Bowie's passing, that vibrant color feels maybe a little poignant,
Oh,
a touch melancholy.
that makes sense. And sticking with London, there's Harold Gilman's interior, Mrs. Mounter,
Yeah.
painted during World War I, 1916-17, part of that modernist way of capturing ordinary life.
Yes, it shows a landlady, Mrs. Mounter, in her rather unremarkable room in London's West End. Very still, very intimate.
Why would this resonate with Bowie, do you think?
Well, Bowie was born in Brixton, post-WWII London. These kinds of scenes, ordinary flats, bedsits, this would have been a familiar visual world, part of his own history, perhaps.
Connection to his roots.
I think so. And the title Interior, it invites you to think not just about the room, but about her inner life. Gilman uses that post-impressionist style bold patterns, strong light hitting the cluttered mantelpiece to make something quite moving out of the everyday.
Elevating the mundane.
Precisely. It shows Bowie connecting with art that finds meaning in social history, in quiet lives.
Okay, one last shift. Let's talk sculpture. It shows his appreciation wasn't just limited to painting or design.
Right? Broadening the scope.
And this piece is by an artist who, fittingly, shares his first name, David Moore's family group.
A bronze sculpture, cast in 1950. Technically quite complex, apparently. It shows two adults on a bench holding a child just under life size.
And the timing, 1950, right after the war.
Exactly. It's widely seen as a symbol of hope, renewal, the importance of the family unit after all that devastation. There are actually 5 castings of it around the world. New York, Japan, London.
So, a universal theme.
Very much so. For Bowie, maybe it represented a kind of stability, security themes that might have appealed amidst his very public, often changing life.
Interesting thought.
There's a little anecdote, too. One of the castings was at a school in Stevenage, outdoors. They had to move it inside in 2010 after someone tried to steal it. Shows how valued it is.
Wow. Well, what a tour through his private collection. It really is incredibly wide-ranging, isn't it?
It truly is.
From provocative Hearst spins and sleek Italian design, right through to his own paintings and these profound sculptures, that eclectic taste really is the defining feature.
Absolutely, but it's more than just a random assortment. These pieces, together, they really do feel like a reflection of Bowie himself.
How so?
Well, they mirror his own curiosity, his evolution as an artist, his deep thinking about the world. He chose art that challenged him, that inspired him, that found beauty sometimes in unexpected corners.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about owning things. It feels like he was curating a conversation with art, building a visual map of his own mind, his own spirit.
A visual autobiography. I like that. It's beautifully put. And it makes you think, doesn't it? For you, listening now, what about the things you choose to have around you? Your art, your music, even just everyday objects. What do they say about your inner world? Maybe engaging with art, whether making it or just appreciating it, helps us understand ourselves better. Just like exploring Bowie's collection gives us, hopefully, a slightly deeper understanding of him.
It's a great question.
Yeah. Perhaps take a look around your own space with a fresh eye. Maybe even a Bowie-esque eye. What stories are waiting to be told right there?